everybody, this is Christine with Coco Daisy, and I am thrilled to share with you some fun techniques and tips for layering and using all of the stamp sets that are part of the Spice Market collection, which is our August collection. We have actually 4 stamp sets this month. We have this one, which is part of the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit, continuing on with that theme that we've had the last couple months. This one, which is part of the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. And then this one, which is a standalone stamp, the beautiful mandala that you see here. It almost looks like a lace doily to me, or even just a beautiful, almost a floral look to it. That is a standalone stamp set, so you have to purchase that separately. It is not in any kit. And then this great stamp set, which is in the planner add-on. And I'll show you something, you'll get a little idea of what this was made to go with. So there are 4 stamp sets this morning. And I'm going to start with this one from the Modern Memory Keeping Kit, which has this awesome tag in it, and then these fun other little elements. Especially this little camel postage stamp. We have some die cuts that are in the memory keeping kits that are stamps, and so we added one of those to the stamp set as well. So this would be really fun to stamp and then cut out if you wanted to. So I'm gonna show you a little bit about that stamp set to start with. So obviously you can stamp the tag and cut that out and just use it over and over and over again, because tags are one of my favorite design elements. They're great for adding journaling. They're great for tucking in an envelope or behind a photograph. You could even do a layout with a bunch of these and have a bunch of small photographs on them. You could make a tiny little mini album out of these by running a large jump ring through, punching a hole through the little tag here and making each one a page. If you wanted to make a tiny little mini album, would be fun. A couple of the things that I did with the stamps, I layered the camel postage stamp on here and then added a couple of the word or the phrases, the sunshine on my mind and the take note of this. And then that still leaves you room for, you could put dates and titles and journaling on all of this. And when you look at this, it says from, address, and destination. So that just kind of goes along with the whole adventure or travel theme, but it doesn't have to. You can completely disregard those and add any kind of header that you want. I always like to add, with a roller stamp, add a date in there is always fun to do. And then on this one, I kept it kind of plain and just added the just can't get enough of this on the bottom, which again leaves you plenty of room to add a title and some journaling. And then there's also this fun little stamp here that is just kind of like a little watercolor blob, which isn't a pretty word, but and what's nice is you can layer that behind things. So you can see where I layered it behind the we ate this or the just can't get enough of this. Take note of this moment. I layered it behind that one as well. Or another fun thing to do is layer it as color behind the stamp and stamp it in black. So you can see where I did that. I showed it with a couple of different colors, the yellow and the pink. And then again, you can just stamp that postage stamp in black and then cut it out and use it as a die cut. You could even color that in with colored pencil if you wanted to. Another thing that you can do with the just can't get enough of this is you can mirror image it, you can flop it and create a circle. You could always punch that out with a circle punch and then you have a fun die cut too. You can see here I did it with the lighter blue, the darker blue, the orange, and the yellow. And then I also used it down here. I layered it with the sunshine on my mind. As far as the stamp, you could that postage stamp, you could make a border, you could fill an entire layout, a background, like especially if you had like a traveler's notebook page or a mini album page, something small, you could make a whole background of that, would be fun. But I did like kind of the border, just kind of did a rainbow border there. I layered it behind the sunshine on my mind. It's a great one to layer behind things because it doesn't obstruct it. It has some nice fine lines in it. So if you stamp something a little bit with a little bit of boldness to it over top in black or a darker color, it will still work really well together. And then I stamped the sunshine on my mind with the take note of this moment. I thought that was cute as well. And oh, before we go on, I should show you the colors that I chose. So I have this, the Catherine Pooler Catching Rays, the Catherine Pooler Orange Peel. I've got a Stampin' Up! In the Blueberry Bushel. That's this darker, almost navy blue. The Stamp Market in Rosy. The Stamp Market in Ocean. And then, of course, my favorite for black is the VersaFine in the Onyx Black. So those are my colors that I chose. So this is just using the Modern Memory Keeping Kit stamp set. Now, I should also mention in the stamp subscription, you would get these two stamps. So if you're getting the stamp subscription, you would get those two stamps. You always get the stamp sets from the two memory keeping kits. So just to make sure that you know that. And then I'm going to move on to the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit. That is this stamp set. And we're continuing on with the same theme that we've done for the last few months, and it has a different journaling spot here with the lines, and then we've varied that. So if you see here, I have June and I have July. So we're varying that box there so that it's a little different each time. But you can mix and match all of the other elements in these. So you have the dates, the month, and the words, and that will you can mix them all together. And I should also mention that the journaling box base, so this will fit in this base, this stamp, this large square. This is back in stock on the website. If you go to the Daisy store and you go into the stamp section, you will find this. So we have these back in stock. They sold out really, really fast, so we did finally get some more of those in. So it complements this, this series. So this has a bunch of fun elements. Let me show you what I did with them. So obviously you can stamp the month in there. You can add the month along the top. I layered, it comes with two of the pretty little floral mandalas on there, and I layered those in a couple of them. You can intermingle the different words. And again, I love to be able to use some of these spots for journaling and putting in the date. And I'm going to show you that in a minute, what I did in my traveler's notebook with that as well. I love this little, I'm not sure what you'd call that, but it's kind of a neat little flourish that highlights a word or goes under a word. And I just love how it looks when it's layered under a word or as a highlight. It's such a pretty little detail, but it's small, but it's very, very pretty. So I used it here under the 08 with the August. So I didn't even use the box there. I just did the 08 with the August and then used that. I did August Adventure and used it there. I did August with two of them. And then if you flip it, it becomes, in the detail in these are just gorgeous. I have to say, I absolutely love our stamp manufacturer. They do such a wonderful job of keeping the detail nice and crisp on these stamps. Excuse me, fighting a little bit of a cold here. But if you flip it, you can then have a spot where you can run one of the words in the middle of that. And I think that's such a pretty little detail there. I used the small one right here and just created this tiny little cluster, dreaming of travel, and then it has the small one. You can, of course, layer them and create a border. You can do all the same size, just change the colors, and you can do, or you could do every other one, the smaller one, or you could even layer the smaller one on top. Another thing that you can do is you can stamp a couple colors at once, and you can get this kind of fun effect. I mean, I'm going to show you that on this larger one here in a minute. I'll show you how to do that. But so you can see here where I layered the little one over top as well. And then just as a background, these are beautiful as backgrounds for any of the words. Just stamp it in a lighter color and it works out really, really well that way too. All right, and then we're gonna move on and I'm gonna show you, oh, I wanted to show you here. And I forgot to show you something on the other one too, so we're gonna go back to that. Sorry. Okay, so you can see here on this one, what I did is I stamped this. And because we started this series in June, I did not have an 05, so that's from my own stash. But you can see here where I stamped it, I used the Adventure and I used the Wanderlust, but I ran this through the printer and added the date and then the subtitle. And if you go to my Instagram page, Christine, I think it's just Christine Everett Cocoa Daisy. If you go to my Instagram page, you can see where I did a little tutorial on how to print directly on a page using your printer. So you can see where I did that on that one, and I also did it on this one. So I went back, as I said, because you can use any of these from the series. Because this is dated in June, I had a June one. I went back and used that. And then I used the Dreaming Of with the block, and then the 06, and then I added my own journaling right on top. And then I stamped some of the smaller pretty little mandalas on there as well. And then I forgot to show you, so let me bring this one back too. I wanted to show you something different I did with that gorgeous tag. So this is a layout from my daisy planner. And what I did is I stamped it in a lighter gray right over top of where I had the dates. So I stamped the dates in a real bold black, and then in a kind of a lighter gray, I stamped the tag, and then I used chalk to actually fill in the color on those. And I thought it created a great effect on that. So that's another way that you can use that I wanted to share that with you. All right, so now I'm going to move on. I'm going to show you. So this is the larger, we're going to talk about the larger mandala first. And it's just, again, it's this beautiful, almost kind of floral. It makes me think of a lace like crochet doily almost. And I want to show you kind of a neat technique on how to, so what you can see I did here, this is just plain, just stamped straight, just so you can see all of the beautiful detail in there. And then this one, what I did is I stamped the first one in yellow, and then I stamped it again in the orange. All I did was pivot it just a teeny bit. And so it gets even more intricate, because you can see that there's two kind of layered over top of each other. And then this one, what I did is I stamped this one, and then I stamped the two smaller ones from this set, and I cut these out. And then I stamped them in different colors. I cut them out, and then I just layered them together. So you could, if you wanted a little bit more dimension, you could layer them with a little bit of foam adhesive or a pop dot, and you could do it that way. But these, you can see there is definitely a darker color or another color around the edge. And so there's a couple different ways that you can do this. If you have ink daubers, you could go in and put the ink exactly where you want it, and you could do even more intricate than this. So if you wanted to layer the colors for an ombre effect, you could do that. I was kind of lazy, and but this is super easy to do. So if you just need a couple of colors that will work together. So if we do the yellow and the rosy, so I'm going to show you these two. So to get this fun effect, you go in and you ink your stamp completely with the yellow, the lighter color first, okay? And then you just take, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna do the edge in the pink. So it just depends on how far in you wanna go. So I'm just going around and I'm just doing the edge. And you can kind of see on your stamp where that shows up. And again, it just depends on how far in you want to go, how much you want the contrast, where you want to go with it. I don't get too fussy because I think it looks pretty when it's random. So you can see that those two colors are on there. And then when you stamp it, I'm hoping I get a good impression. I usually stamp on a bunch of old trial papers that I use for printing. It gives me a good, you can do it on a magazine as well. So I'm hoping I get a decent impression. Oh, good. So isn't that beautiful? And super easy. And it looks like you've got two stamps almost there, like an outline and then the other one. And again, if you had daubers, you could go in, you could even use, I think, like a makeup sponge if you wanted to go in and try and highlight certain parts. But this is a super fast, easy way to get that effect with just a couple of ink colors. And that's so pretty. And again, the beautiful thing about this is you could layer this behind a lot of things. You could cut these out and use them as die cuts. So there's a lot of pretty ways that you could use this to use in your planner or in your memory keeping, either way. So again, that is just the single stamp set that we will have available in the store. Subscribers will get first dibs at that. And then if there's any left, we will have it for the general public. Now, this stamp set, which I am super excited and so glad we finally have this. This is for tabs. So if you're looking for a stamp set to be able to add headers or dividers to your to label, that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry. Again, cold, to add the labels to your tabs, to divide your pages and have your sections labeled in your planner, then this stamp set is going to be perfect. And this is part of the planner add-on. So you can get this in the planner add-on kit. But what I wanted to show you is we actually have something a little new, and this is going to be fun. And the reason I wanted to do these in our minimalist collection, in the planner kit that is our minimalist collection, we had these smaller tabs. And I loved them so much, I wanted to start introducing them in our planner add-on kit as well. Because they're so nice to add subsections or divide other, in your planner, or if you have, if you use smaller pages, smaller inserts, it's nice sometimes to have the smaller tabs as well. So what I wanted to do was make sure that this stamp set works with these smaller tabs. So as you can see, and I'm hoping you can see that. So I stamped a couple here just so you can see there is an outline on here, which fits perfectly if you wanted to stamp the outline. You don't have to, obviously, because there's a space that's pretty clear, but if you wanted to stamp the outline, you could, and it fits perfectly on these smaller tabs. So you can see where I stamped it on here, and then these words, these little headers or labels will all fit in here as well. So you can see I did that. I stamped a couple. There's budget and there's don't forget, and then this one is the daily to do. So you have these great little tabs, and so you can stamp it. Again, you can stamp it with the outline or without the outline. It doesn't matter. And remember, again, these are all stickers as well, which makes them even easier to use. So you get, I don't remember how many you get in here. There's a bunch of them. But that is what that is meant for, is that it will work with this new size. Now, it will also work with the regular tabs that you get in the main planner kit. So the outline obviously is not going to work on here. The outline is going to be too small. I mean, you could stamp it in there if you wanted to. It would just be within it. But the words will fit on the larger tabs as well. So they will fit on the larger tabs and the smaller tabs. So I want to make sure that you know that they will fit on both. But the nice thing is they will also fit on these new smaller tabs. So we designed those to go together. So I didn't feel like I needed to stamp all of those. I just wanted to talk about that and let you know what that was all about. So that stamp set, again, is part of the planner add-on kit. And no, at this time, they will not be sold separately. You have to get them in the planner add-on kit. If we sell out of the planner add-on kit, then I will probably order more and just keep them in the store in stock. All right, and then finally, we have where I kind of take all of them and put them all together and give you a few ideas on how to merge all of the stamp sets together. This is one of my absolute favorites. So I took the large one and I did that technique that I just showed you. And then I took this, just can't get enough of this. And I did that whole mirror image in the middle of it and created that circle in the center. And I love how that turned out. I stamped the large mandala inside of the tag, added the sunshine on my mind. This one, I stamped the smaller one in a couple spots and then laid the just can't get enough of this over there as well. I did the August and then travel at an angle, and I thought that made a cute tag. And again, if you stamp it light enough, you could add your journaling even over top of it, or just add the date in that here. It says destination, I did adventure with that pretty little flourish underneath. I stamped the smaller one with the sunshine on my mind over top. This one is the sunshine on my mind with that flourish under it. And then here's a couple more examples of how you can merge those two together using this journal block from that series from the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit. I added the fun little watercolor swoosh there, or blob, and then the date. I loved the stamp on the side here, the postage stamp. I thought that was really cute. The We Ate This, I thought that was really neat and would be fun if you were doing something about a restaurant you've been to or something new that you've created as far as recipe. You could even use one of these in a series if you were doing a recipe book or something like that. You could do that as well. And then the August with the smaller one there. So there are tons and tons and tons of ways that you can layer these and that you can use them together, or each individual stamp set as well. That's why I love to do these videos, to kind of give you a jump start and help you think outside of the box a little bit on how to use all of these great stamp sets and get the absolute most out of them. Thank you so much, as always, and please make sure to like, subscribe, comment. I love to see your comments. Let me know if there's any particular technique that you would like to see, or any kind of stamps that you would like to see. I love to see that as well. We're always open to new ideas, and that always helps us because we put out a lot of stamp sets every year, so it's always nice to get input from our lovely daisies. So we love that. And thanks again. I hope you are enjoying this series, and talk to you soon.